What's going on? Okay. So we're back. I don't know what the hell's going on. So somebody put like WB fucking EMP. So I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. So we're gonna kind of talk about some of the stuff we just already talked about. But basically, to sum up what we were talking about earlier, was some of the issues were one, they had a lot of people from before. They had a lot of people from before that had to wait in line, and that's why they cut it short. I mean, they cut it short.
Great thumbnail.
Yeah, I know. I just fucking I don't give a shit. The thing is that because there were so many people in the Watchmen one, it really showed them that they needed to cut this one short in order to get everybody in line for this stuff. That was the big thing. That was the thing that stood out to me personally, was that that's what they were going for. They were trying to get everybody out. Like, it took us 2 hours to get through that line, and we were almost at the end because we fucking fucked around, and so. But it probably took 2.5 hours. There might still be people getting stuff signed right now, and that's how long it's taking. So that's an issue. Then, as we talked about, the crowd was, there's this momentum. There's people yelling for no fucking reason on certain things. Some guys yelling Snyder Cut in the back during the movie when it just doesn't make any fucking sense. He's not even there, or he's not. You can't see him, and people are yelling that stuff, and that kind of really set the tempo for this.
That was the biggest thing for me that I mentioned on the last one. Obviously, was that the room, you can kind of tell it was different, and in some ways it was good. A lot of people cheering during the movie, really showing appreciation, which was cool. But then also people being obnoxious, blurting out shit all the time. One guy yelled, "We rise with the boss, Snyder," or something to that effect.
We miss you, Snyder.
Yeah. So, but it was constant chanting, and I think to me that was evident that this was a different crowd than last night, for good or bad. I think ultimately it was bad, but as Matt said, that's why they probably only had a certain period of time that they wanted to just run through the questions, and why so little got asked was because, they were on a time thing, and a lot of some of the responses were a little bit more lengthy to some of the questions as well, and they wanted to mow through the autograph signing. As we mentioned last fucking live stream that got cut off, they only allowed us to have one thing get signed, and they were trying to speed it up as quickly as possible. Got to ask some questions. They were exhausted. I mentioned this as well. But I asked Zack Snyder about Man of Steel being one of his few films that doesn't have a director's cut. Is there one? And he's so exhausted, he gave me like just a blank stare at first. It was kind of awkward where I'm like, do I have something in my teeth? Do I have something on my face? Do I have a booger or something? And
he does.
Perfect. And but you could just tell that's how exhausted he is, and and we just appreciated them signing stuff. But to go back to the Q&A, I think some of them were maybe screened by students of like, oh, we're gonna make sure that you guys give. Holy shit! Did we just get a donation?
Yeah, we got a donation.
Thank you, guys.
$5. I can't see who it's from though. I'm sorry, guys. We're not really good at this live chat thing.
Comtone 70s. Wow, that's we really appreciate that. That helps us out. Helps us edit these.
Videos. Stay tuned, guys, because by the end of this, I will have good news ish. I did ask Snyder a question personally to him, and we're just gonna try to give a big synopsis of the environment. Something you probably can't get on Vero.
Yeah.
During the thing is the environment that we were in. So there was a lot of dumb questions. A lot of dumb questions in this. And I felt that, hey, we're all there for a reason, right? We all just spent $100 each on these tickets for a reason, right? Presumably to understand or know about the Snyder Cut. You think that would be a major goal for everyone. Yes, you can have your own personal questions. I had my questions too about BVS. But there's a basic fundamental thing to this.
Mm-hmm.
And it blew me away that I thought that for sure, there's no way he's going to be able to escape this without getting major Justice League questions. And for the most part, he walked away fairly. I mean, he did go on his little thing of what possibly could be, basically explaining what this shirt was gonna, this whole thing here was gonna be about. And he gave us a small, brief little understanding of what that was gonna be. and the Doomsday thing, or excuse me, the Darkseid killing Lois thing, and obviously we know she's pregnant, so that's going to add more stuff to it. It's very Injustice-like, but there is a fundamental question that we all had, and I don't know what the cause of this was. Why people beat around the bush. The one young girl that asked about the Steppenwolf Suicide Squad type question and stuff, she was obviously nervous. She didn't quite get it out the way she was supposed to. But she even apologized beforehand. I got asked about that, that Justice League thing. No. This is a basic thing. This is why you're here. This is why you just paid $100 to be here, was to ask this question. The one thing that annoyed me, and I'm not going to... This kind of happened before, but on the right side, which we weren't on the right side, we were on the left side, from our perspective anyway. From the stage, we would have been on the right side. But the one side, there was a female host or whatever that was handing out the mic that was pretty much only giving it to women. And, pretty much ignoring anybody else, if you had a pair of tits that she was going to give the mic to. So she was just like, ladies first, and she just kept handing it to that. And there was a girl in the front. I've asked a question every single night, but I'm going to ask again. I've been here since 10 a.m. Well, there's a reason why you're in the front, because you go to the school. You go to the school. So that's why you're in front, and that's why you were here at 10 a.m. Don't sit here and be like, you were waiting in line since 10 a.m. That's just, it was just false. It was just false. The guy that yelled about the Wonder Woman theme, they didn't even know what was going on. I don't think anybody probably even understood on Bureau because the guy yelled it. But he said, what about the Wonder Woman theme? And he was talking about the transition from Patty Jenkins using the Wonder Woman theme from Batman vs. Superman.
That was the guy in the last video that got cut off that I had mentioned. He didn't even have the mic. And that's when I could feel that there was some tension in the room. I will say, to the girl's defense, yeah, she kind of asked the question about Justice League a little choppy. At least she asked it. We got the bombshell dropped in terms of Darkseid, and some of it we had already known, but Darkseid boom tubing to the Batcave to kill Lois. That's some pretty cool shit. Hardboiled Entertainment asked something along the lines of was that in his version? What did he say? The question: original script for Justice League or plans for Justice League? Must investigate further.
It was plans. All this was plans. It's this shirt. So this shirt is plans.
Yeah.
It never happened, and he fully admitted that as soon as the reaction from BVS happened, this went adios. And he had to do a complete rewrite with Chris Terrio. And some of the elements stayed in, as he said. Some of those elements stayed in, but you could tell the major things, the things that we see on this shirt, are no longer there. A lot of them aren't there.
Yeah, Shadow Vessel, Darkseid was a distraction from the Snyder Cut. I think to an extent, yeah, I think you're right. I think that he could only answer so much, and he can only give the fans so much. So he decided, well, I'll give you something that I can say with getting in the least amount of trouble, if any at all, and it was the plans from the beginning that pretty much got scrapped, why this shirt exists, things like that. That was his kind of way of diverting the question, or diverting from the question a little bit, avoiding it completely, was by just answering his overall plans that were pretty much way out there. And we had talked about this where we were waiting in line with Dave, film junkie, and we were talking about how some of these plans were pretty far out there that it's kind of funny to imagine how the broad audience would have reacted.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of his point. That was his point of showing like, hey, are we crazy? That's, what he said in the Q&A. Are we crazy for thinking this? And it got dialed in. I don't think, none of that stuff was shot. It was in the original plans. And then they kind of moved on from that. And that was around the time when you could feel the people behind us were like, they were getting up. They're like,
there was a lot of oohing and ahhing.
Oh my gosh. And some people were overreacting. The jackass who yelled about the Wonder Woman theme, he stood up. He full on stood up and was like, just over exaggerating some stuff. But that's where you could kind of sense, and the moderator was trying to speed it up a little bit, and then he said, okay, last question, and kind of cut it off at that.
Shane mentioned in the last stream that a guy Mick D, who we met today or yesterday.
Over this weekend.
Yeah, over this weekend we met him.
Good dude. Thank you.
Great guy. But he was able to see Deborah Snyder's face, and Shane mentioned this earlier, and he was telling us when Zach mentioned the dark side killing Lois thing, she just put her head down in her hands, and you can tell that was probably a big no-no.
Yeah.
And for the most part, whether any Snyder's going to see any repercussions, who knows? But a lot of what he explained was stuff that he's slowly leaked out on Vero or slowly mentioned.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now we got the story timeline, what he wanted to say.
Right. This was a live instead of in chats and people screenshotting it. This was a live Vero reaction. That's essentially what he treated this as, is like, oh, let me give you fans a little bit more stuff, but it wasn't anything in terms of the Snyder Cut that we know that we're looking for, the answers that we're looking for.
So the questions. I basically, when we were standing in line, I lost my shit. Spider-Man question. The guy screaming about the Wonder Woman thing was stupid. I understand the girl was nervous about the Justice League thing, and I guess it led to the Justice League thing. But her initial question about the Steppenwolf concept art, or quote-unquote Steppenwolf concept art from David Ayers, she explained it so poorly, and it just confused Snyder more than anything, and that's kind of how he went the roundabout into Justice League and turned it around. There was some other questions of the high school fucking jerseys or whatever, pads or some question.
Yeah, that was the last question. Yeah.
And it was so ridiculous. And I just don't understand what the hell their problem is and why people just didn't ask it. I tried. Shane and I both were raising our hands. Yeah. We weren't flailing around like retards, though. So I guess that was the reason why. And we didn't have prepared. Well, I have tits, but I don't have good enough tits for that one chick to give me the thing. So that was kind of ridiculous. But there is some good things that came out of this, though. I saw somebody ask about, somebody posted about there's 10 different cuts. He said, they asked him about the Snyder Cut, and he said there's 10 different cuts. Okay, I'm not going to say I'm going to debunk that real quick, but they may have asked, and he may have said that, but he does feel there is a definitive cut, because I did ask him. Okay, and now this is what I asked him, and I don't have the poster with me to show you guys. We'll probably find another way.
Yeah, we'll take a picture of it.
We'll take a picture of it. But we got the Snyder poster, the event for this, the Director's Cut poster. And my question, after Shane got his question asked, was it, and I said to him, hypothetically, if there was an alternate cut of Justice League, how long would it be, and how complete are the VFX? That was my question to him. He already circled this thing on the poster, but he circled a point on the poster, and he pointed to the circle. He said, "That's your time." And then he said, and I'm like, in the VFX, not complete. He didn't give me a percentage. So that's what I got. Now, what's on the poster, and he circled on my poster, and I think he actually circled on Film Junkie's poster. So if Film Junkie's watching this, he'll figure out, I told him, look at the circle. It said 214, which 214 minutes. So 3 hours. And
that's essentially fucking 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours.
If my math is correct, 3 hours and 34 minutes.
It's a tiny little font on the poster in the cape of Superman. And it says 214. So if he does have 10 supposed cuts, if that was a so-called political answer, he feels that he has a pretty definitive cut of 214. That's what I got. That's me. I'm just telling you, it's my anecdotal moment. You know, I wasn't going to be a rude jackass like the Wonder Woman guy and scream, "Where is the Snyder Cut?" Because I'm not going to get an answer. I needed to be heard, and I can't just yell it. I yelled it yesterday in the moment at a time to generate buzz. But this time, you can't just force it. You just can't force it. And I think there is a general notion that he has an idea of his cut. It's 3 hours and 34 minutes.
Edgy Veggie, we will definitely show the poster. We actually we're kind of tired and fucking left we left all of our equipment in the car. We left posters in the car.
That's why we're on a phone right now.
Yeah, so we'll definitely show it. We'll probably snap a picture and post it on Twitter tomorrow morning before we hit the road.
And we'll probably put it on the community page too for YouTube. But yeah, it's on the poster. It says 214. It's on the cape of the Superman cape. and he told me that was the runtime.
Which is pretty cool that he incorporated that in the poster. This was in.
He circled it before I asked him
Yeah,
too.
He circled it on Film Junkies.
Didn't on Shane. So I don't know if it was just some random.
I distracted him.
Or yeah, your boogers.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he remembered my dumbass screaming yesterday, so he was doing it for selected people that he think might recognize it. So that was what I got, and you guys can believe me or not, but that was my anecdotal story that I was able to tell him. And a little thing, Larry Fong was there, and we had him sign our poster as well. And I believe somebody asked this to ask Snyder of why Larry Fong didn't do Man of Steel. And I was able to talk to Larry Fong for a moment there, and he said that the production company, whoever it was at the time, didn't really know who he was. And they wanted to go with the other guy, Amar. I'm sorry. It's midnight. It's midnight, and we're tired. We've been up all day. But they went with the other guy, and it's actually funny. Larry Fong actually signed Mick D's Man of Steel Blu-ray as the other screenplay guy in like these weird letters. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So apparently, it was just kind of the production company at the time not having knowledge of Larry Fong, but then Larry Fong requested, Zack Snyder requested Larry Fong for Batman vs Superman, and the gentleman, and I can't remember, I'm sorry, I'm blanking right now, but the gentleman that was like the main, it wasn't the stunt guy, the large dude, but the stunt coordinator guy or whatever that was sitting next to Zach, he looked up at me and he said, and Larry was very missed for Man of Steel. So that's interesting, because I think Man of Steel looks great, and now I almost wonder what a Larry Fong Man of Steel would look like. Would have just blown fucking us out of the water, and there wouldn't have been any question.
I think so.
Any question about is it a good Superman movie? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, any questions?
Yeah. So I real quick, I think tomorrow, we'll talk more about some of the positive stuff, more about the trip, the people that we met. It's been a lot of fun. No, we didn't get the definitive answer to the question that we wanted.
But there's some answers. Yeah. I got an answer.
And to know that there was a runtime, the
VFX aren't done. So anybody that says the VFX are done, any of those people out there, the Snyder fans that say it's done and ready to go, sitting on a shelf somewhere, I talked to Zack Snyder myself, and he said it wasn't complete.
Yeah, but you know that if he had a runtime, he kind of had an idea of how he wanted to place the video or the movie. He wanted to splice it together a certain way. In terms of a lot of people I see are asking questions about them screening the questions at the Q&A.
No,
they didn't screen them, but I definitely think that they planted some. That they planted some students that were going to ask, and it was more noticeable yesterday. Or maybe planting them is the wrong way to put it, but they definitely favored certain. Oh, you're a student that goes here. You're gonna make sure. The girl who showed up at 10 a.m. She even said, "Oh, I got to ask a question every day that I've been here." Well, why didn't you fucking give the mic to someone else then?
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of favoritism that went hand in hand.
And just like that woman that was only choosing women to talk to on one side.
Yeah, but they didn't screen them.
She completely eliminated a group of people on the other side of the auditorium, and then the other person was just oblivious to people raising their hand right in front of them, and just giving it to random dudes in the back. This time we tried to get in the front because that's where everybody was getting asked before, and so this time we got in the front near the end, and it didn't work. And we kept trying to get some attention, and it just didn't happen. I wouldn't give up hope on the Snyder Cut. It's really sounds like to me it just is becoming a Donner Cut thing more than ever.
Yeah.
It's incomplete, but it's all shot, and eventually someday there will be enough from the studio.
Exactly. It's completely up to the studio. It's not one of those. I don't think that Snyder's holding it and waiting to release it on a specific day. I think it's going to be the studio that reaches out to him and says, "Hey, we need you to come back, finish this." And roll it out. And it's probably more like the Donner Cut. Maybe within a couple years, it still could be like a 2-year away thing. Keep putting pressure on the studio itself. and we'll keep cracking at it, I guess.
Yeah, people that keep leaving may help. You know, less bruised egos, more people that can see potential in a movie like this. I mean, if comic movies keep coming out pretty generic, you know, if we get the same fun, loving, heartfelt, wish fulfillment type movies, there might be a marketplace.
Yeah.
For a Snyder Cut eventually. Is there anything on the horizon? No. And we kind of knew that.
Yeah.
People that said it was going to be announced at Comic-Con, it's not going to be announced at this Comic-Con. That doesn't make sense. It wasn't going to be. It didn't. Unfortunately, nothing really happened too much tonight. But it for me at least the runtime thing. He does have a cut.
Yeah.
He does have a cut in mind. Whether or not the 10 cut thing was a
he fucking put that on the poster. Yeah. So
and
that was planted there.
That was there, and he told me the VFX thing, and then so it's there. It's just the studio's holding it back. So we continue the pressure on the studio. Release the Snyder Cut hashtag. Will we see it anytime soon?
Probably not. But like I said, we'll keep chugging along and keep putting pressure on the studio. Release Snyder Cut, super important.
That's why we're here.
Yep, exactly. So thank you guys, and thanks for the donation as well. I can't believe this got up to 87 people joining the chat.
87.
Yep.
Holy shit!
Thank you guys.
And a donation. Wow.
We super appreciate that. Every little bit of support helps. And we'll keep doing our thing. And then tomorrow, we'll talk more about the weekend. We met a lot of super cool people. Overall, it was a lot of fun. I think worth the trip. No, we didn't get the question answered, but fun stuff. So,
yeah. In case I don't see you.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thanks, guys.